Have you been diagnosed? How was this message delivered to you? Did it leave you feeling like it was the end of your living? Hi, I'm Gillian, and I'm sharing my journey from surviving to thriving to plant seeds of possibility for others. I spoke last Monday about labels and how we collect these labels as we journey through life. And we pick these labels up mostly from other people, from people we engage with and people that have an influence in our life. And what has occurred to me is that we generally pick up the labels from two types of people, I think, that have the strongest influence. Those are people that we are looking for love from, looking to receive love from. And then those that are in positions of authority, whose opinions we respect. So these will be people like teachers or doctors. So tonight I specifically want to talk about doctors. I would like you to tell me in the comments if you have ever received a diagnosis, and just type yes. And then I want you to give a little bit of thought. Maybe it was a long time ago, like it was in my case, I'll share with you. But how was that diagnosis communicated to you? How did it make you feel? Did it make you feel full of hope? Or did it make you feel like you could look forward to a life of treating symptoms and just really having to accept the fact that you're going to suffer and that you're going to be in pain from your illness or this disorder? I would appreciate you just typing me in the comments so that I don't feel so alone if this diagnosis left you feeling really like it was the end of your living. So when I was 17 years old, I had been struggling with really chronic stomach troubles, a lot of pain from quite a young age. And eventually it reached a point where we went to a doctor. And after about 2 minutes of consulting with me, he turned around and he said to me, being 17, he spoke to me like I was quite a lot younger. But he said to me, in this life, there are some people that are not stressed people, and there are some people that are stressed people, and you are just one of those stressed people. And that was it. I was diagnosed with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and I was labeled a stressed person. And I took that on. I mean, at that age, we were also quite influential, giving away my age a bit, but this was before the time of the internet, so it wasn't like I could just go and Google what IBS was and what my options were. And I really was left feeling like my life was doomed to just suffering because I was in chronic pain. It was pretty much a daily occurrence. And I got given like 2 or 3 months supply of prescription medication and sent on my way. And it really can leave one feeling hopeless. But what's more important for me is that I identified with my diagnosis. I became that stressed person because I was told I was a stressed person. And that became one of the biggest labels and biggest burdens that stuck with me for the next 20 years. For 20 years, my symptoms grew progressively worse until, I think just after I'd had my first baby, I was in such a bad state that eventually it had led to hypoglycemia. And later, in a few years down the line, I would realize that, or find out that it was eventually become severe gut dysbiosis. So at no point did I then start researching and going, well, how can I change my life? How can I get out from underneath this? When you identify with your diagnosis, it becomes, I am stressed, I am diabetic, I am overweight. And what this does to us mentally is this becomes you. And when it becomes you, I don't know if you remember my quote, I think it was last week. I said that we rarely act outside of how we see ourselves. So as soon as you accept the fact that you have this debilitating disease and this is just who you are, that is how you act and live out your life. So really what I want to invite you, if you have experienced or in the middle of experiencing, what I went through, just changing your language can change your labels. And remember, your labels are not stuck on with glue. They are stuck on with Velcro. You can take them off. So by reframing, and instead of saying, I am a diabetic or I am a stressed person, I am someone who suffers with the symptoms of stress. I'm someone who suffers with the symptoms of a disease called diabetes. Then you are in an empowered position to be able to seek change and to change your behavior and go, okay, well, it's just symptoms and it's a disease called this, and, how can I go about fixing it or changing it or reversing it or making my life better and being able to live within it rather than surviving within it. So that's my invitation to you this evening. And I would love to hear from you if you have experienced this, and even if you've worked through it and come through it. I'd love to share stories with you. It's been a tough journey for me, and one that I still travel every day, and every day I try to improve and I try to gain knowledge and I try to change my circumstances, I suppose, but I'm no longer a stressed person, and I love the fact that I've ripped that label off. So please, if you know of anyone who may benefit from this and from this different perspective to look at themselves and look at their circumstances, I think they would be very grateful if you could share this with them. And I would just like to show my appreciation for you taking your time and spending this time with me, and yours in gratitude.